Hello everyone, this is Mrs. McCrary. Today we're going to talk more about finding unknown quantities, looking at elementary treatise sections 118 and 119. In elementary treatise 118, it gives us a formula for finding, for setting up your proportion for really any set of numbers. And it says, among the four numbers which constitute a proportion, there are two of the same kind, and two others also of the same kind, but different from the first two. First, then, it is necessary to distinguish the two terms of each kind. When this is done, we shall necessarily have the quotient of the greatest terms of the second kind by the smallest terms of this kind equal to the quotient of the greatest terms of the first kind by the smallest of the same kind, which will give us this proportion. The smaller term of the first kind is to the larger term of the second kind, as the smaller term of the second kind is to the larger of this kind. So here we have an example. A ship is 860 feet long. A model of this ship is 20 feet long. How many feet of the real ship are modeled in each foot of the replica? So first we need to find our two kinds of numbers. Okay, so we have the feet of the real ship and the feet of the model. We have the feet of the real ship and the feet of the model. All right, so I would say our first kind would be feet of the real ship, and our second kind would be feet of the model. Feet of the real ship, feet of the model. All right, so the smaller of the first kind would then be this value that we're looking for. Okay, so we're going to have our unknown value there because any part of the ship is going to be smaller than the entire ship. So then our larger of the same kind is our 860 is equal to, now in our second kind we have 20 feet long, which is the entire model, versus each foot of the replica. Now in each foot we're working with the unit 1. Okay, so there we have it all set up. We have the smaller term of the first kind and the larger term of the first kind, the smaller term of the second kind and the larger term of the second kind, and then we're going to go ahead and do our cross multiplication, which is going to give us 20x equals 860. So then for every foot that we're looking at on the model, we are looking at 43 feet on the real ship. Okay, so now in section 119 it talks about when your numbers are given and not in a little bit of a different method. Okay, for example, the question that they start with is, in how many days will 27 men take to perform a piece of work which 15 men can do in 18 days? Now, your number of your first type of number is the number of men. All right. So your second type of number is the number of days. Now, in this case, 15 is the smaller of the first type and 27 is the larger. So we would think 15 over 27 is equal to, and then we would normally think, well, 15 is the smaller, so then the number that goes with that, 18, is smaller. But in this case, if 27 men are working at the same pace as 15 men, they're going to work at a quicker rate, and so therefore that is going to be a smaller number. All right, so section 118 says, make the number which is the same kind as the answer the third term. So in this case, the answer that we're looking for is how many days. So let's get rid of this over here. We have our first, second term, third, fourth term. All right. Make the number which is the same kind with the answer the third term. So the number that's the same kind with the answer is going to be 18 days. So we're going to put that in our third term. And the two remaining ones, the first and second, putting the greater or the less first according to the third is greater or less than the term sought. Now, again, we said that 18 is going to be greater than our answer because 15 men are going to work more slowly than 27 men collectively. So we're going, since this is the greater term, we're going to put that 27 on top and the 15 on bottom. And then the fourth term will be found by multiplying together the second and the third term and dividing by the first. So again, we're doing that cross multiplication. 15 times 18 equals 27x. And then we're going to divide. So we have 15 times 18 over 27 equals the number of days. So you have to take a second and step back and think about what it's actually asking you, because if you were to do this normally, you'd end up with 27, 15, x over 18, and then you would be looking at things in the wrong way. But you have to think what is actually being asked, because if 27 men are working at the same pace as 15 men, they're going to be working faster, and therefore this number is going to be smaller, so it needs to go in the smaller position. All right, as always, let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk to you at our live chat.